Hello whisky fans, thanks for joining me again. It's true, it's possible. Not yet, but it's about to be. December the 7th, let's see what we've got in store today. Another double door. Right, have to be really careful this time because it's not going to be the end of the bottle facing out. It could be the label. Oh, I've ripped that one in half. Oh, Master of Malt, I've been your customer for years. Why do you do these things to me? So we had Tamdu yesterday. Not at all trying to make conversation to distract from what's going on in the background. But the Tamdu is a very good whisky. Really enjoyed that one. Tamdu, another Speyside, and really good whisky. Bit surprised it was 15 years old. I thought probably 16, maybe 18, something like that. At the end, I did say that I hadn't had Tamdu for a very long time, but I was surprised it was 15-year-old, and I thought that maybe that might mean that it's available for a fair price. Had a look, it's actually quite expensive for a 15-year-old, it's around £80 here in the UK, but still really good whisky. So let's see what we've got today. Label facing away. Crack the seal. In the glass. So yet again, that is quite a dark coloured whisky. Ooh. Let's get that out of the way. Yeah, quite dark. Is that sherried or is that colouring? It would be nice if on the premium advent calendar there were no artificially coloured whiskies in there, but we know that's not the case because we've had a Johnny Walker. I'm sure that that's got caramel and non-chill filtering and puppy's tears and all sorts of horrible things in there because it is a Johnny Walker product. A little bit of a Lafroigy peatiness on this one. Very vanilled, very sweet, bourbonised peat. Damp, slightly muddy, not overly aggressive peat. But yeah, that one to me, straight away, the thing that comes to mind is like a 16 or an 18-year-old Lafroig. So if it is an Isle of Peat and it's not Lafroig, where is it from? What 18-year-old Isle of Scotch is available? It's not that many. It's not Lagavulin 16. It's nothing from Kilchoman. It's not Bruichladdich. Bowmore. 18-year-old Bowmore. So now that I've got that in my head, I'm immediately going to be looking for sort of cough sweet, cough candy, aniseedy peat notes. If I find those, I'm definitely going to go for a Bowmore 18. Quite a bit of gristiness. It doesn't smell. It smells like it might not be a craft presentation. A little bit of spiciness, a little bit of maltiness. Sweet peat. Let's see how it tastes. There's a beautiful dry earthiness to the peat on this one. And a lot of sweetness coming through, so I think that sweetness is probably coming through from a lot of bourbon casks, but I think probably a minority of Oloroso sherry casks as well. It's quite a plasticky note, and not in a bad way, just a slight acrid, sweet acrid quality to the peat on the nose of this one. But that sweetness of the peat I think this is an Islay whisky. If it's not an Islay whisky, it's a very good imitation. There is actually quite a jammy red fruit note on the nose of this one as well. I think to start with that was a little bit hard to pick out because you're just overwhelmed when you first nose this one by the peat. It's not that it's a huge peat bomb, but I think that peat and that sort of Islay style peat, it makes it hard to smell anything else when you first nose it. But smelling it now, I'm getting possibly European oak red wine finish maybe. It's definitely a jammy wininess there. So a heavy gristiness too. That peat, I'd say the closest thing that I can think of to the peat on this one is definitely going to be Lefroy, because it's got that gristy, vanilla, bourbonised, very sweet gristy peat. But it's definitely been some sort of cask finish applied to this. Let's have another sip. Little bit of slight hint of iodine, TCP. Well, this one's tricky. I don't know if I'm going to be able to hazard a guess on this one. As to the ABV, I'm in two minds as to whether this is a craft presentation or not. I think I would probably guess somewhere around 45, 44 or 45. Trixie. Very difficult one, but a very good whiskey. As for the age, again, difficult. I don't think that this is an incredibly old whiskey. Maybe 15 years old, 14, 15. But I think it's really well made, and I think that combination of the really sweet, jammy red fruits combined with that peat, that Lefroy style peat, and I don't think it is Lefroy, no. But that combination goes incredibly well. Let's find out what it is, because I don't think I'm going to get close on this one, really. Because I've really got Islay on the mind now, but I think that might be a red herring. Gulliver's 47, 10-year-old. Now, I can tell you everything I know about Gulliver's 47, 10-year-old, and that's precisely nothing, because I've not heard of that one. But it's actually 47% ABV, so I was quite a bit off there. I guess just under 46, around 44, 45. It's actually 47, but it is a 10-year-old whiskey, and that's really surprising. I would not have guessed in a million years that that is as young as 10 years old. Definitely not. Whoever Gulliver's whiskey company is, they're really doing some really good stuff, and I'm surprised I've not heard of them. Maybe that's why they've included this in the advent calendar. Also wonder how much it's going to cost, because if it's 10 years old and it's in here, it's possibly more expensive than you'd normally pay for a 10. But yeah, really like that one. That's definitely not going to be on the bottom end of the leaderboard. Let's do a little bit of research, see what we can find out about that. Okay, Samuel Gulliver and Company. So, not heard of that. Samuel Gulliver's 47, 10-year-old. I'm pretty sure that this is the right one. So, whether that's a Master of Malt product, doesn't seem to be. English whiskey. Okay, so I wonder what distillery that's coming from. I don't know if they're going to say. 10 years old, spent its decade of aging in red wine quarter casks. So I didn't get as much spiciness and wood notes on this one as I thought I might from a quarter cask matured whiskey. It seems to be leading you to believe that it spent the whole 10 years in quarter casks. If that's the case, I don't know if they're fresh or refill. Well, I guess they're quarter casks that have been treated with red wine. So that's taken some of the wood spice, taken a little bit of the harsh edge off. Because that's one of the things I often don't like about quarter casks, that you get a lot of gingery wood spice in there. And I think that Gulliver's, by treating this with the red wine before the whiskey goes in, I think that they've probably done a really wise thing there. Okay, so doing a little bit more research, it turns out this may actually be, and this is slightly embarrassing, from my local distillery. It may be from English Whisky Distillery in Rydham in Norfolk. So, completely missed that one, but in hindsight it makes quite a lot of sense, because a lot of the peated releases from the English Whisky Distillery, they do often have a little bit of Lafroiginess to the peat. They describe it as not as a harsh, not as a medicinal peat, but I think that the peat that you get in a bourbon cask matured English whiskey, it's almost up there with your Lafroigs and your Islay whiskey. So I think that the fact that I thought that this might be a Lafroig, or at least that I said that it had like a Lafroig style peat, I can still smell that. There is definitely a medicinal iodine quality to that. Well, I think so anyway. You guys out there can let me know what you think if you've had this one. But I think that's a fantastic whiskey. One thing I didn't look at, how much is this? It's 10 years old, £93. So therein lies the rub. That's a very expensive 10-year-old whiskey. So I'm in two minds about that one, and it raises an important question. When I'm doing my leaderboard, do I factor in price? And I don't think I can, because if I factor in price, I think that one's going to be unfairly low on the leaderboard. I'm going to go purely for quality, and based on that, I think this is going to be one of the underdogs, one of the dark horses of the leaderboard, but it's definitely going to be ranking up there. And more importantly, it's really good that English whiskey has been represented in the calendar. So thanks for joining me, and let me know what you thought of this one in the comments. Hopefully a bunch of you are going to like it as well, because I think that English whiskey is really going from strength to strength at the moment. And I'll see you tomorrow.